Please listen carefully.
Hello, universe. Welcome to the Optimist Daily Update. I'm Ariel Tienko.
And I'm Summers McKay.
And we are part of the team behind the Optimist Daily, making solutions the news. We bring you reader-funded solutions news every day in order to change the tenor of news media, social media, and how your day's going, so we can all get focused on what's going right in the world.
7 days a week, we publish positive news stories written by award-winning journalists and delivered online to your inbox and through our social channels. And also, we are sharing these solutions in a commute-worthy, walk-worthy, home office-worthy, crafting-worthy podcast. Today is Tuesday, the 22nd of February, 2022. Wait, so it's 2-2-2-2-2 today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lot of twos.
That's got to be good luck.
Hopefully.
It's like 11-11 squared.
I'm feeling twice as lucky.
And it's a Tuesday, right? Like, so it's Tuesday, 2-2-2-2-2-2.
It's just too good to be two.
I mean, I'm kind of embarrassed of myself right now for saying all of that, but hey, that's what we say on the podcast here. So speaking of optimism, how's the world looking where you're sitting right now, Ariel?
It's looking pretty windswept.
Okay. All right. So most of our listeners, I think, are in the United States. However, you do not live in the United States. So what's going on?
Our regular listeners will have caught on by now that I live in Amsterdam.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if there's been any news about it stateside, but Storm Eunice has been kind of ripping through the UK and also Amsterdam and a bunch of the countries surrounding us. And it has been just extremely windy. I mean, on our last pod record, I got a blaring alert that scared everyone, or it scared me anyway, with the government just texting to say, stay indoors, it's very windy. And I was looking out the window and I'm like, yeah, I had no plans to go outside. Mm-hmm. So many trees have fallen over. Unfortunately, there's been a few deaths.
Right.
And entire buildings are just, their roofs are ripping off. There's a popular video of a man who's laying on his roof to prevent it from being blown away. I don't know if it worked in the end. I mean, luckily, everyone that I know and all my loved ones have been safe.
Okay.
But, you know, just walking around my neighborhood with the dog, you can just see huge trees uprooted and blocking roads.
I'm sure there's just kind of an inevitable amount of anxiety that comes along with being in the middle of a unexpected and unprecedented storm.
Yeah.
I was going to say, You've been more familiar with that, right? You grew up in a area that had trees and more woodsy environments. You know, the idea that wind and weather can have a big impact is not really unique for you. Mm-mm. But where you're living now, this is a bit of an extraordinary experience, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I was used to hearing stories of maybe a tree falling or even just a branch falling in the wrong spot and hurting or killing someone. But my partner, I don't know, I guess it just never crossed his mind before, but seeing all of the damage in such a country that is fairly temperate in weather, this was, you know, not a welcome surprise.
Right.
But, you know, climate change is real in very tangible ways now. It's not just something that we're talking about. So obviously, I don't think that it's a good thing that we're going through all of these terrible natural disasters, but it is a reminder we have to act now.
We have to take action now, and we have to acknowledge this changing climate in the world that we live in to keep ourselves safe and to keep our earth safe, right? We've got to kind of change it up a little bit, whether it's the small actions we make as individuals or the large actions we can make as policy influencers. So we had a more temperate weekend here in the area that I live in, but I think there's upcoming freeze warnings in Austin coming as well. So we all just have to be aware. We have to start taking action or furthering action because many of us have started taking action. So what do we want to talk about today? Do you want me to go first or do you want to go first?
You can go first because I'm actually really interested in your story as well.
Okay. Well, speaking of taking action, my story is about $1 billion to be invested in cleaning up the Great Lakes. Let me preface this with a little vignette, a little story of my own. We all know microplastics getting into oceans and waterways are terrible, and we all know that glitter is in fact a microplastic. However, there are cellulose-made, biodegradable, ecologically sensitive glitters that are out there. As someone who has a daughter who does lots of crafts, and this was my crafting comment earlier, we recently had a request from the teachers at Brennan's school for glitter. So I said, yes, I would be happy to. And I know on the Optimist Daily that they talked about biodegradable glitter. So I am going to get that for the class. Mm-hmm. So I told the teachers I was going to do the good earthly thing. And then I went on to Amazon and it was 10 times more expensive than the microplastic glitter.
Yikes.
So I did buy the cellulose plant-based glitter.
I mean, you had to follow through.
Exactly. I had to follow through. I had to do what I said I was going to do. But from a cleaning up our waterways standpoint, I think we need to make that cellulose glitter more economically viable. Mm-hmm. Like, as you mentioned, climate controls and protection, like it can't just be for those who have tremendous abundance. Mm-hmm. We have to take care of people everywhere. And yeah, I'm very excited about trying to figure out a way to make microplastic glitter a thing of the past and finding a way to keep it out of our Great Lakes. So that's why I liked this story, because it reminded me of what I'm trying to do as an individual, but it actually requires big policy action and financial investment as well. The U.S. Great Lakes are treasured and iconic wonders of North America's natural splendor. Countless families and individuals flock there for fun, and thousands of species of animals, fish, insects, and birds call those waters home. They also hold major economic importance for more than 1.3 million Americans and provide water to 40 million Americans. However, after many years of pollution, these waterways are not in such great shape. On the 17th, it was announced that $1 billion of federal funding will be dedicated to cleaning up the polluted areas of the Great Lake basins per the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative. In concert with the EPA and the brilliant scientists and folks who work in the water industry at the EPA, they're going to clean up and strengthen nearby infrastructure, improve nearby communities of 22 identified areas of concern. The cleanup involves removing toxic substances, reducing harmful agriculture runoff, making sure that the water is safe to drink, the fish are safe to eat. And there's also a plan to improve the vital infrastructure of the communities near the areas of concern to help the natural area and its people. There is something called the Justice 40 Initiative, and at least 40% of the federal funds allocated to the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative will go toward those designated disadvantaged communities near the Great Lakes. This includes cities like Sheboygan, Wisconsin, Buffalo, New York, Lorain, and Duluth, Minnesota. Government and non-governmental organizations getting together, humans coexisting in their environments, cleaning up water, and reducing runoff from agricultural industry. It's a good story.
I guess this will also benefit Canada.
Yes, it will, right? Because I'm sure some Canadians drink some Great Lakes water too.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of the lakes, they touch both countries.
Right.
So, that's great. I wonder if Canada is just going to also piggyback onto this idea. Mm-hmm. I mean, hopefully they clean the lakes, because Lake Ontario, the last time I checked, was not so nice to be in.
I mean, hopefully what will happen is that Canada will make a likewise effort to clean up the lakes from their side as well. Mm-hmm. So it's an exciting story. Clean water. I love water. I want to go scuba diving. Yeah. I want to go explore.
Well, lucky for you, there's a lot more to explore, according to my headline. We're doing a life aquatic theme today.
Exactly.
So my headline reads, 2/3 of seafloor life is waiting to be discovered. And I was drawn to this story because I was listening to another podcast about loops. And there was a part of it that described the life of a whale, like a blue whale, the big whales. And after a whale dies and it gets to the bottom of the ocean, mm-hmm. not a lot of research was done to what happens to that whale, but someone went out and did it. I don't remember the details. And the whales, which live to about 50-ish years, 50 to 70 years, their carcasses provide life for about the same amount of time. And there's some really specific species that aren't found anywhere else except on the
seafloor with a whale.
Yeah, carcass of a whale.
Ooh.
So I thought that was really cool, and that's why I'm going to talk about this story. That was my opening vignette.
I love it.
So, diving in, no pun intended, there's 2/3 of life occupying the seafloor that is still waiting to be discovered, and this was based on a recent study published in Science Advances. The team behind this used DNA sequencing techniques to reveal that there is at least 3 times more life on the seafloor than higher up in the ocean. Now, this is really exciting because that means that there's so many more incredible discoveries to be made, such as some of the recent ones like impressive upside-down underwater lakes, which divers stumbled across last year, uncovering many novel species, including the Elvis worms and the glitter worms.
Glitter worms!
Yeah, glitter! And there's also another deep-sea expedition back in 2020 that found 30 new types of species. So you might be wondering, the ocean is so big. Why is it that there's such variety of life on the seafloor? That's because there's a more complex environment that the seafloor creates, which allows for a collection of microhabitats to survive, including underwater volcanoes and really, really deep coral reefs. That's kind of like another story that we talked about with the new coral reefs off the coast of Tahiti, I think.
That were just coming to life.
Yeah. Because they're much deeper than you're usually looking for coral reefs. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the co-author of the study, Andre Goudet, said, if you have a very uniform environment, then all species are exposed to the same habitat. But if that habitat is divided into lots of microhabitats, then species can specialize. Another finding from this study is that there are life forms that help regulate the Earth's climate down at the bottom of the ocean. Organisms such as phytoplankton are absorbing atmospheric carbon and sinking it down with them into the deep ocean, where it's captured in sediments. The team confirmed that this is a really, really important role that these tiny microscopic phytoplankton and the like play in regulating the climate. And this was not previously understood to such an extent before. And of course, we are all trying to figure out how we can help natural systems operate so that they can work against the climate crisis with us, and having deeper knowledge about how things work in the oceans, in the forests, everywhere, as much information as we can gather, it will help us handle what we're facing today and what we are continuing to face.
Well, I like that reminder that you're offering us that it's not just external solutions. There are existing solutions that nature itself already offers to reduce the impact, and certainly with the Great Lakes, right? A reduction in what we're putting in it that's bad, but also allowing the life that's in it to grow. Mm-hmm. Because when life grows and the more we can create biodiversity, whether it's deep in the ocean, in the Great Lakes, or in my own backyard, that biodiversity is what reduces the carbon that is emitted into the world and allows species to live and us to live and us to all survive through some very big windstorms.
Yeah.
And other things.
At the end of the day, diversity is just really what we need.
Yeah.
Diversity makes us stronger.
Exactly. Diversity of thought and biology and news stories. What other interesting news stories do we have today on the Optimist Daily?
To continue on the diversity train, there's a headline that reads, "A seat at the table for underrepresented communities." And I think that's about bringing underprivileged and underrepresented individuals into leadership roles in business. So that's a good one. Check it out.
I'm sure Facebook won't let me promote that in marketing. It'll say it's too political.
Oh.
But it's not.
We have another headline that says, "How to train your own resilience as if it were a muscle." Clove oil can help slow down the transmission of mosquito-borne diseases. There's an Israeli farmer who is a very proud grower of the world's heaviest strawberry.
I love the pun in that headline, and I think I know which of our writers is our punniest writer. I'm guessing. Is that either you or Belle?
Yeah, that one was me.
That was you, right? Love your puns. Did you know that brain cells can be controlled with sound? How to cook your veggies to boost their anti-inflammatory powers. 5 brain types and what makes them happy, according to a neuroscientist. And these refugee-owned businesses are flourishing. I almost picked that one. That and much, much more, as always, is available on theoptimistdaily.com. Thank you for listening to today's Optimist Daily Update. We promise to continue to share positive solution stories with ideas on how you can participate in this changing world and ensure it's change for the good. You guys are so sick of me reading the same thing as we exit every pod. So here's the deal. Share us on social. Share this podcast with someone you love. Send some inspiration out in the world. And have a great 2/22/2022, Tuesday. We'll be back tomorrow with more solutions.
Clove, and is wait, I don't know if that made sense what I said. Yeah.